All right, and we are alive. Ooh, with some wild hair today, I'm just saying. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Writing Sprint Wednesdays with your host, myself, Doug Lansborough. It is July 23rd, 12:30 p.m. Eastern as we start, and we are on deck as usual for 3 20-minute sprints with a 5-minute break in between each one, starting with a little 5-minute intro here. How's everybody doing? B, I did not get a haircut. It just naturally felt like this. Let's see who's in the chat today so I can say some hellos. Hello to Reed and David and NJ and JM Brown. Hello, hello, everybody. Let me keep scrolling here. B already responded to, but hello, B. Aaron, hello. Aaron, are you still working on revisions? Is that where we're at? Um, I know they take a while. Trust me. I'm in the same boat. Athena, hello. Who else do we have in here? Ashley, hello. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Want to join our virtual picnic? I just had lunch, but I'm happy to be here while you have your virtual picnic. Yeah, Aaron, you are same with me. In fact, let me know what you're all working on in the chat today. There's this one scene that I just can't seem to get the way I want it. So I'm going to use today as motivation to do some revisions on this scene, hopefully finish up this project, and then I can move on to the next revisions and actually writing some new stuff as well. So that's what I'm working on today. What are we all working on out there in the ether of the internet? Uh, Reed has Coke and pretzels. You got your pretzels, my friend. Ready for 3 20-minute stints of staring at a blank screen in despair. Nah, you always write a good amount of words. I'm also stumbling with my own words today because if you didn't join us yesterday, if you're not part of W Academy, we had a 3.5 hour long workshop, and I've been sipping tea. I've been having some halls. I've been trying to take care of my throat because it was a good one. It was a long one, but it was a good one. uh, Oh, B, I love to see that. Sorry for being such a good influence. Because of you, I'm actually editing and adding some before story to the end of my story. I love that. Ashley had prawn, mayo, and salmon everything bagel. All right. All right. Athena's working on your world's history. I planned out the series. Now you're writing out the emperors all the way to year zero and adjusting the universe's timeline accordingly. Excellent. You all know that I love world building. That's no secret, of course. How much time do we have? I want to make sure I'm not taking up too much. 2 minutes until we get started. NJ, does the 3 act structure work for a trilogy? It certainly does. But one of the things that we spoke about yesterday is that it's hard to visualize exactly how the 3 act structure fits into a trilogy because you're also using something like the 3 act structure for each book. So you can do it, and it's easier with a trilogy because it's broken up into 3 already. But it does take a little bit of refining. So more like general guidelines to let you know how your series arc should be progressing. Um, all right, Sylvan's here for some lesson planning in the first sprint, here for the vibes and productivity. And you know what? I'm glad that we can provide that for you because the vibes are always immaculate here with us folks. Reed, you've been revising your manuscript, so more staring, less typing. Do you have a plan for revisions? Have you gone through our what to do with your messy first draft? Even if it's not a first draft, it's still applicable. Don't get me wrong. uh Ashley's still trying to finish this fic before going on to then the comment jump onto my original work. Awesome. How much do you have left? Of course not, Reed. Well, it's available to you. Yeah, like the video for my bragging. Oh, wrong one. If you're here, hit that thumbs up button so that I can continue to brag to my colleagues about getting the most liked sprints of the week because I'm the only one that really remembers to tell you all to do that. Oh, we even got a like on Facebook from Lynn. Thank you, Lynn. That's fantastic. Most people are on YouTube, but we do stream on Facebook as well. Okay, I shared the link for the sprint in the chat, but I'm going to share it again just so everybody has it because we are starting in just about 20 seconds here. So, uh, JM Brown, I like that. I like that. And I'm gonna start that so we can talk more uh, later. But I'm putting this on the screen. Happy writing, everyone. I will see you in 20 minutes. All right. That is the end of our first sprint. Let me make my face big there. If you want to join our second sprint, link should be down below me. You might need to refresh the page, or you can find it in the top left of that sprint. But I will grab the second link in just a second here. Let me do that. How did our sprint go for everybody in the chat? Let's do that and that. Emily's joining in for the next sprint. TW joining in for the next sprint as well. Awesome, awesome. Kara's going to try and finish a beta read for a client. Probably not much of my own writing today. You're still doing something with words and you're still doing something important. So I take that as a win. Let's see. Aaron got 26 through the edits there. Fantastic. Athena, 307 words in this one. World building is too fun, I swear. I absolutely agree. B with 435, finished the edit, then started just before that to flesh it out more. 475 for SK, awesome job. David, 344, fantastic. Read, revision editing for sprint 1, 3901 words revised, net word count 0. Hey, there is no goal for revising, like a word count goal for revising. Some people say you want to trim your novel by 10% by the time you're done revising the first draft. That's more a guideline than a rule. But you got to do what's best for the book, right? Ashley got 923. As soon as the bangs go off, my cats start meowing for dinner. And Hanueli 81 because I joined late, 434 from before today. That's awesome. We're just going to keep adding on to that. And JM Brown got 705. Fantastic. Bear with me for just 1 second here. All right. One thing that JM Brown said before we started that first sprint was something I've noticed is if you do a 3-act structure with a trilogy, it's ensuring the second book doesn't slow the story too much. And that's excellent point, because if you do plan out the story, the series arc in the 3-act structure, you know what's happening in the second act, and you know all the fun and games or escalating action or rising action or allies, friends, enemies, things that they are developing, and then the midpoint, that really devastating moment, and you know what you need for the mind shift change after that in the second plot point. It's a little more abstract to apply it to a series, but it can be very effective to make sure that you're still making progress towards the ultimate end of that series. One of the things from yesterday's workshop that is relevant to everyone, whether you were at the workshop or not, or whether you watch it after or not, is I think I scared some people because I was talking about planning. And I know even some folks in here gave me some pushback yesterday when I mentioned planning. And I want you to write however you write, right? I'm not here to tell you that more plotting is better than more pantsing, or more pantsing is better than more plotting. But I do need to caution you, because if you go into a series with the same mindset as a book, more specifically a pantser mindset, you're going to find you're going to run into some limitations. And this isn't just me rehashing that you should plan at least the end point of your novel and the beats in between. But when you pants a novel, when you go through and revise it, you have the opportunity to patch up all the plot holes, to find the continuity errors, to make revisions and make it the best book you can. And that's fine. That's excellent. You do the work before, you do the work after. Nets out. When you're writing a series, if you write the first book and then publish it, and then you write the second book and then publish it, and then you're writing the third book in the series and you've pants the whole way and you don't know how the series is ending, you can't go back and revise that first book now. Or you can, but very minimally if you indie published it. Right. So there is a limitation to not planning at all when it comes to a series, and it's the limitation of it's out there. So pants away, but at least know where you're going. That's my final plea to the hardcore pantsers who are writing a series. And it doesn't apply if you're going to write an entire series before you publish or query any of it. But it is definitely something to keep in mind, because you're used to pantsing a novel, you don't understand the ramifications of pantsing an entire series. So we have 30 seconds left until the next sprint starts. Let's do that. I should be done revising this scene. I made a couple small changes here and there that really dialed in on the voice I was looking for this scene, and maybe we'll talk about voice in the next 5-minute gap that we have after this sprint. But yeah, and then after this, I might switch over to my Dabble project and then just start doing some brainstorming. But I'll make the beeps for you when I hear them if I'm not in the word sprint. All right, everybody. Up it goes. Happy writing. I'll see you all in 20 minutes. All right, I said I'd beat, but I'm just here talking instead to jump scare you all. Because unlike Hank, I don't have it set up on my end to get the timer on screen. But that is the end of our second sprint, everybody. If you see on screen here, I did transition over to my Dabble project because I had wrapped up revising that scene, and now everything that I'm doing is taking place in this series Bible that I made up for our W Academy workshop yesterday. But let me know how that sprint went for you. Make my face big there. Excellent. Uh, Actually, I'm kind of thinking the same thing, and I can't tell if NJ is referencing our plotter pantser discussion, if NJ's talking about this picnic that went awry, or something else. 278 for Athena. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. 776 for Ashley. That's awesome. 348 for David. Great job. Great job. All right. I don't even know how to. I'm waiting on NJ to say something to give us some clarification on what's going on here. Yeah, okay. We're discussing how plotting feels. So one of the things that we mentioned just briefly in our workshop yesterday is this idea that I might do a workshop on like 5 different ways to plot, from beginner friendly ones, pantser friendly ones, to some hardcore ones. Uh, Read with a net change of -1 and got through 4,500 words of editing. That's fantastic. JM Brown 610, awesome. B with 516 this go around. Love to see it. Apologies, my throat just constantly needs water today. All right. And Hanweli with a 294 this sprint, 826 total. Bravo, great job. Um, Writing in a zoo cafe or something, and the animals had broken loose. The African lion safari, not the African lion safari. That's a local. I don't even know if it's local, but like there's one around here, and you drive through. There's lions. I'm thinking of the Rainforest Cafe. My apologies. Also a chain around here. I think it might be in the States as well. Um, there's a very very jungly vibe inside. All right. Um, yeah, one of the things that I mentioned before we broke for that sprint, and let me actually share the third sprint link so that everyone has that here. Okay, B has the exotic animal paradise here, drive through safari type. Yeah, yeah. So that's like the African lion safari for me. Um, the Rainforest Cafe is a restaurant that you go in and it's set up to have. They definitely have them in the States because I think I was in one in California once, with like trees and stuff and animatronic animals. Uh, oh, okay, switching from pantsing to planning felt like Jumanji. um, voice. So when you're writing, you have your author voice, but you also have character voice, or a narrative voice that you have to think about. And so I write in a particular way. You write in a particular way. ChatGPT writes in a particular way. Um, Everyone writes in their own style. It's influenced by an infinite number of things. But you have to reconcile that with the narrative voice of the piece that you're writing. And if you're writing something in multiple perspectives, like different scenes or different chapters are told from a different character's point of view in first or third person limited, you have to make your voice mesh with the character's voice, who's the perspective character of the scene. And that's not super easy to do. The best way to do it is to do work on that character, get to know them, understand their voice, use their backstory, quirks, traits, all of that to figure out how they speak, how they communicate, and integrate that into the prose. I tried something very different in that the scene that I was writing there or revising was a flashback, kind of like it was like a triggered memory told from this character's perspective, understanding that it was a memory. And so the way that I had it originally was just a lot of telling. And we only have 30 seconds here before our sprint starts again. But the way I had it before was a lot of telling. And that's you get into dangerous territory in first person and in flashbacks with a lot of telling. So I had to go through and really played with the voice and used less telling, but some showing and some almost commentary from the present day character to influence the retelling of this memory. And yeah, I'm happy with the result. But now The last sprint of the day is starting. Happy writing. I'll talk to everyone in 20 minutes. All right, everyone. And so ends our third and final sprint of the day. I've been having an absolute blast outlining this new series. I'm very excited to get into it. Still got a lot of revising to do for some other projects, but hey, we're gonna do it all at once. We're just gonna do everything because why not? That's healthy. I don't need boundaries. I don't need time. All right. Jokes aside, how did everybody do? I see J.M. Brown got 788 and B got 521 for a total of 1472. Fantastic job, you two. Let me pause my music here so I'm less distracted by the bops going on in the background. Excuse me, my apologies. 373 for David. 446 for Athena. Making up an entire history timeline is so very fun. And make sure you enjoy that. Make sure you do have fun, but also make sure that you're still making progress on writing. I'm, a little hypocritical because I will delve into world building forever. And I understand how fun it is, but don't let it distract you from writing the story that it goes with, too. Right. Um, B might just write this book backwards. Give it a shot. See how it goes. Ashley got 661 that sprint for a total of 2368. That's fantastic. And has recently written down the premise for 37 different story ideas, so you're confused. Emily's reading a trilogy focusing on one of the characters to make sure she's got an arc. That's very important, especially if she's a main character or an important secondary character. That's fantastic, though. Great job. Planning is hard when the story shows up in your head scattered in time, like the doctor running into river backwards. That reference is lost on me. But I appreciate it nonetheless, just not as much as I possibly could. Reed got 4631 revised that time around. 0 net word changes. Overall net change of -1. 6,000 or 69,976 to go. Well, he got 317 that time around for a grand total of 1143. That's fantastic. Great job. TW is asking, when does the 60-day challenge start? I'm on vacation next week, and then the week after, I'm going to start putting together all the stuff that we need for that. So the announcement will be in September about when it starts. But it starts in October. It's going to run October through November again. So we capture that same November write 50,000 words energy, even if there is no NaNoWriMo anymore. We got a cooler challenge anyway. So we'll be starting that in October, but more details will be coming. I'm sure I'll spill some in sprints and whatnot. But more details in September. Yeah, being back on track does feel nice. Yeah, I know where the Doctor and River references are from, everybody. I just never seen Doctor Who. I've seen clips here and there, but I've just never got into it. That's not a fair statement because I never actually tried to get into it. I've just had so much other stuff to watch. But I understand the fandom around it and how much they love it. So one day it's almost daunting. I think we've spoken about this before, actually, and how almost daunting it is to try and get into that because there's so much. Start with the Ninth Doctor. I feel like I've heard that before, and honestly, it might have been from you, NJ. Strike me as a Doctor Who fan. I'm sure I would love it. Everything that I've seen, everything that I've heard, it's like, hey, this is right up my alley. But I mean, I started this break after the sprint with talking about how little time I have, everybody. But fine. You know what? By the end, it'll be my summer goal to watch some Doctor Who, some of the Ninth Doctor. The older stuff is the scary stuff, but I do like the scary stuff. I mean, give me those. Is it the Weeping Angels? Is it? I'm sure I got the name wrong, and you're gonna give me heck for it. What was I gonna say though? I had something very important to say before you all started bombing on me, and that is tomorrow. Hank is running sprints tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, same time as these ones, but then at 2 p.m. Eastern, so about 24 hours and 10 minutes from now, I'm going to be chatting with Hank and maybe with Abby for the Indie Summer Challenge that they are running, and we're going to be talking about jacket copy. And one of the things that I'm really going to be dialing in on that's very important if you're considering indie publishing is jacket copy versus store page copy, because those are not the same. They can be the same, but you have so much potential and there's so much thought that goes into store page copy. Because a little hint that if you join me tomorrow for that show, you'll hear me say again, um, jacket copy or the back page or the back cover blurb of your book is not as powerful as it used to be, because the vast majority of book sales are done online now. Less and less people are going into brick and mortar stores, picking up a book, reading the back, and buying off of that. I still do. I'm confident that you all still do as well. But most people do not, right? Or they go into a bookstore with an idea in mind because they've looked at something online already, and maybe they glance at a couple other things because they have zero impulse control, like my better half, and they end up walking away with 8 books. We've all been there, right? That this audience knows exactly what I'm talking about. Or a book recommendation from Book Talk, for as Ashley says there. So yeah, so we really need to think about jacket copy or tasteful blazer copy, but we need to think about store page copy as well, and that's something that we'll dive into more tomorrow. I'm not gonna give it all away now, especially because my time here has run out. I need to go and just get a break from a screen, have some more water, maybe have some tea. But uh yeah, that's we live in a crazy time. Someone got a publishing deal without a manuscript just because he got Book Talk on his side. Because publishing deals are a lot about publishing is a return on investment, right? How can a publisher make money off of this deal? That, which is fair. That's the whole point of a publisher, is to publish books and make money off of it. So I can't blame them for saying, hey, you have a very popular base that's going to eat up a lot of your work. Let's write a book together. As long as the book is good quality, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but I can understand the frustration behind it. The Librarians is also on my list, NJ. And B, that's very good advice. Actually, get Tic Tacs to keep your mouth and throat moist. Yeah. Yeah, talking for hours at a time. It's funny, I'll say this too. I played D&D last night. Now I'm just gabbing. I don't think there's anything. Hank has a show today, at 3 p.m. With Kyle Mills about exploring societal issues with fiction, which I think is really cool. And you should check it out in an hour and 8 minutes. But I can gab. I play D&D with my wife and 2 of my wife's friends and one of my wife's friends' husbands. And so my wife and her 2 friends are teachers. And whenever I say, oh man, I'm tired and my throat hurts from that 3-hour workshop that I just did, they're like, we talk all day. And it's like, no, it's different. Talking at a screen once a month when you're not used to it, it takes me a little bit to recover. But yeah, talking nonstop 8 hours a day is rough. And all respect to teachers, of course, adore them, and they do talk a lot, especially in our D&D group. B saying the movies were better than the show. Are we talking about the yeah, because NJ's gonna fight you about the Librarians. Yeah, decision fatigue at the end of the day. Just fatigue, right? Talking and being in front of people and managing that kind of stuff. It's tiring, right? And so I appreciate you all taking it easy on me today. And this was a lot of fun. Got a lot of work done. I'm glad everyone here got some good writing done. It looks like a bunch of people made some really good progress, which makes me very happy because I love that part of my job is coming on here every Wednesday and getting work done, like progressing my own story. But it's really cool seeing all of you get your work done as well and take another step towards whatever dream you have of publishing or finishing your book or what have you. So I'm gonna have to watch The Librarians. I'm gonna have to watch Doctor Who from the 9th Doctor onwards, and then you can all find something to harass me about once I've done all that. All right, one more time. Today at 3 p.m. in about an hour's time, Hank talking to Kyle Mills about exploring societal issues with fiction, and then tomorrow after Writing Sprints at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'll be chatting with Hank about jacket copy and sales page copy. That'll be super important if you plan on indie publishing. But until then, thank you for joining me for some awesome sprints today. Thanks for the great engagement in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button so I can brag about it. And other than that, I will see you all later. Bye for now, everyone.